The development of artificial intelligence is advancing at an astonishing pace, which has left many people feeling a bit uneasy. Just when we thought ChatGPT was a global sensation, the development of generative AI has been rapidly progressing, like Tyson's meteor fist, hitting us in the face. It's only been a little over 2 months since my last video on ChatGPT, and the AI market has undergone a dramatic change. On March 14, Google released its Palm API, a large language model interface. However, just 1 day later, on March 15, OpenAI announced the release of an upgraded version of ChatGPT, GPT-4. Following this, Microsoft announced its plans to integrate GPT-4 into its suite of Office tools. Then, on March 16, Baidu released Weining Yanyan, the first large language model release in China. On the same day, image generation company Midjourney released its 5th version, with incredibly realistic images. After that, companies such as Huawei, Alibaba, 360, and SenseTime have all released their own large language models. What's more important is that they're not just releasing basic foundational models, but are starting to integrate these models into various applications. We'll talk more about this later. This rapid development is both exciting and worrying. As early as 2018, Elon Musk warned that AI is far more dangerous than nukes. We'll talk more about the specific concerns in this video. Regardless, the trend of AI development is unstoppable. So, I feel it's essential to make another video about artificial intelligence, to update ourselves on the developments in this field over the past 2 months and discuss the potential risks behind it. We can't afford to fall behind. In this video, I don't want to emphasize or compare the competition between these companies too much because many products are still in the early stages, and the products are not mature enough. Moreover, many are still in beta testing, so it's not meaningful to compare them to determine who is better. Let's take a look at the recent breakthroughs, applications, and products in AI. Actually, technologies like artificial intelligence and machine learning have been quite common for a while now, but previously, they mainly focused on analytical tasks such as big data analysis, AlphaGo for playing chess, facial recognition, and so on. However, the recent trend is generative AI, which can create entirely new content, such as new text, images, code, sound, video, and more. This means that AI now has some level of creativity, and the things it creates really look like the real thing. This is a significant step towards true artificial intelligence. Let's first look at the large language model, GPT-4, which is an updated version of ChatGPT. If you pay for an upgrade to ChatGPT+, you can use GPT-4. I have even thought of some names for them, such as ChatGPT Pro, ChatGPT Max, and ChatGPT Pro Max. We have previously discussed ChatGPT, which is GPT 3.5 and can almost answer any question, code, summarize, and more, although its accuracy cannot be guaranteed. So what are the upgrades for GPT-4? The most obvious upgrade is that it can now understand images. Not only can it recognize objects in an image, but it also has common sense and even a sense of humor. If you draw a sketch of a website and ask GPT-4 to create it, it can generate the code. Although the resulting website may not be mature, it can already understand the crude sketch you drew, which is quite scary. Let me remind you that even if you upgrade to ChatGPT+, you cannot use the image input function of GPT-4 yet. It is only open to the API interface. Don't ask me how I know this. In addition to image input, there is another significant upgrade for ChatGPT. As we know, its biggest drawback before was that it often made irrelevant or nonsensical responses, resulting in low accuracy. However, this issue has been significantly improved in GPT-4. If both GPT 3.5 and GPT-4 were to take the same human exams, GPT-4 would perform better in most cases. For example, in the previous version, it could only rank in the worst 10% of the US bar exam, but now it can rank in the top 10%. Apart from these two upgrades, GPT-4 has a lot of other improvements, such as a higher word limit, better ways to avoid prohibited content, cost reduction, and more. You may already be used to ChatGPT's ability to answer questions, but with GPT-4, things are even more exciting. For example, it can generate Swift code for animation, create a snake game, generate legal letters, create Ethereum smart contracts, and more. The key is the improvement of these products that happened in less than half a year. Exam scores can go from bottom to top, and students can become college students. Just think, what could it become in 2 years? It may surpass most humans or experts. As for GPT-4, why did it develop so quickly? How was the model improved? How many parameters were used? OpenAI no longer discloses this information. It used to be a non-profit organization, and even GPT-2 was open source. After Microsoft's investment, it became a private company. With such fierce market competition, everything is a trade secret, and I won't say anything. Even the number of parameters won't be disclosed. In the field of large language models, OpenAI's GPT-4 certainly has an advantage, but other major companies are striving to catch up. As long as they have the ability, they will train their own large models, such as Google's Palm and Lambda, Baidu's Wenxin Yiyu, Alibaba's Tongyi Chanwen, Meta's Llama, and Huawei's Pangu. OpenAI's former employee also created a model called Claude. Dozens of large models have appeared on the market, and Google alone has 7 or 8. But don't think that this kind of thing is only for big companies. Stanford University based its large model on Meta and spent only $600 to fine-tune its own model called Alpaca, which reached a level similar to GPT 3.5. And its code is open source. Maybe soon everyone can use their phones to train their own large models. It is difficult to say which models are good or bad. Currently, most people believe that ChatGPT is relatively more mature, but with the rapid development of this field, who knows what earth-shattering changes will occur in 6 months. Each company claims to have its unique features. This is the nature of machine learning. The generated logic is so complex that it is difficult to compare it like phones or computers. At most, you can compare the number of parameters, whether it's hundreds of billions, thousands of billions, or tens of thousands of billions. But even this may not be accurate, and it's hard to know what companies are saying is true. Sure, I'd be happy to help you translate. Based on what you've said, it seems like you're talking about evaluating the abilities of large language models and how they can be used for specific applications. Here's a possible translation. It's a bit like evaluating a student's abilities by looking at how many books they've read or how many hours they've spent studying. While these metrics may have some value, the most direct way to assess a model's performance is to test it yourself. In the future, there may be an AI evaluation agency that specializes in testing these models and assigning ratings, much like financial rating agencies. After all, it's not feasible for everyone to test every model themselves. The models we've been discussing so far are the foundational ones that aim for generality, similar to the broad education that children receive. However, if you want to train an AI for a specific domain, you can do so by building on these foundational models. For example, big companies like Bloomberg have done this. Smaller companies can also do this by performing a second round of training based on their own data. This is like taking a student who just finished their general education and giving them a few years of specialized courses based on your own data. Alternatively, you can simply use the API interfaces of these large models as part of your own services. They are highly scalable. As we move forward, these models will not just be used for simple chat and generating images. Their potential applications are very broad and may permeate the entire market. This is why models like ChatGPT and Google's Palm have opened up their API interfaces. It's a significant development. Some potential applications include language translation. One of the most typical examples is search. I believe everyone is familiar with it. Microsoft has integrated ChatGPT into its search engine Bing, now called New Bing. Google has also integrated Lambda and Palm models into its language-based search tool, Bard. In addition, there are tools such as U.com, Baidu, and 360, which have transformed traditional search engines into conversational AI assistants. Another area where large language models are highly applicable is office work. Large language models are best at organizing language, so they can help you organize contexts, write summaries, and correct grammar errors. Notion, a popular note-taking software, launched Notion AI earlier this year, which is essentially ChatGPT integrated into the software. Microsoft has both the Office suite and ChatGPT as its two major assets, so it is natural that they recently launched Microsoft 365 Copilot on March 16, which integrates GPT-4 into Office software such as Excel, Word, PowerPoint, and Outlook. For example, in OneNote, you can take notes, and in Word, AI can automatically generate content and summaries for you. Once you adjust the text and add more details, PowerPoint can automatically generate a corresponding presentation with good formatting and animations. In Excel, if you have a lot of data, you can ask AI to identify any trends and generate a presentation report. Of course, what we are discussing may seem a bit abstract and idealistic, and AI's current capabilities may not be so advanced that it can perform all of these tasks with a single button. However, the possibilities that come with the development of AI are vast. If AI can become more intelligent in the future, imagine having an AI that can automatically reply to your boss's emails and complete all of your tasks. That would be amazing. Well, that won't do. If AI takes over, my boss might not need me anymore. Believe it or not, there are already companies that have appointed AI as their CEO. Last August, Chinese gaming company NetDragon appointed its executive Tang Yu as its interim CEO. The interesting thing is that Tang Yu is a digital virtual person that can respond anytime and anywhere. But we don't really know how much she has done or how well she has performed. It's just a fascinating thing to share with everyone. Another application of generative AI is image generation. It's not just at the application level anymore, as it's based on a model that's not a large language model. I believe many of you have seen AI-generated images to some extent. You describe what you want or give it a sample, and it generates a highly realistic image in a particular style, such as Disney, cutout, Picasso, oil painting, and so on, in just a few seconds. I don't know how you feel about the images generated by Midjourney, but I was quite shocked when I first saw them. Currently, the most popular ones are Midjourney, OpenAI's DAL, E2, Stable Diffusion, and so on. As we know, who is the king in the graphics processing industry? Photoshop. Adobe has also launched its own image generation model, called Firefly, which combines image generation with image processing, offering more possibilities. For example, you can turn this picture into winter, add a dynamic snow scene, change the appearance of this lighthouse, switch the material of the watch strap, make the watch move, add a small river to this meadow, and so on. These effects are not something we couldn't achieve before, but it would take a highly professional person some time to do so. AI can handle all of these tasks, including image and video generation. For example, there's a tool called Runway that can automatically generate a video based on a few words or an image. However, it's not as mature as image generation. There are also AI tools for music creation. You can input the style, speed, and key that you want, and the AI will create the music for you. What's even more impressive is the speed at which these AI tools are evolving. Just 2 months ago, the AI-generated fingers looked terrible, but now they look much better. In a few years, much of the multimedia content we see may be generated by AI. Another area where AI is being applied is finance. Bloomberg, for example, has developed an AI expert called Bloomberg GPT, which was trained on decades of data and 50 billion parameters. Chinese banks and securities firms are also announcing their own plans to incorporate various GPTs, including a popular tool called Auto GPT. This is an open-source project on GitHub that uses the GPT-4 interface to create an autonomous robot. You can give it a goal, such as, "Help me make money," and it will figure out how to achieve it on its own. AutoGPT is able to search, remember, and optimize to achieve its goal. Overall, AI is becoming increasingly advanced and is being applied in a wide range of industries. This is actually more of a casual topic for everyone. Personally, I think it's quite popular and interesting. There are also other applications, such as education. Because AI is very good at language, it is very suitable to be a virtual teacher to teach people languages, like Duolingo, which has integrated GPT-4 and created Duolingo Max. There are also e-commerce applications, like Shopify, which uses ChatGPT to help merchants write detailed product descriptions. And in programming, there is the essential programming tool, GitHub Copilot. These are just some of the areas where generative AI is being used, and I welcome everyone to leave comments below to discuss and keep adding to the list. Perhaps many people may feel that there is no need to elevate this language model so high. Isn't it just a chatbot that often makes a lot of mistakes? At least personally, I think it is still very revolutionary. First of all, the issue of making a lot of mistakes will be solved as it iterates quickly. Actually, the emergence of these large language models is a very fundamental change because AI can now generate its own content. This is somewhat like when the Internet first appeared. People might have thought that it was just a more convenient way to read the news online. But who would have thought that it would develop into Facebook, Taobao, WeChat, live streaming e-commerce, and other applications that not only have significant commercial value, but also have indeed changed people's ways of life. So the most critical thing about this generative AI is that it has created a huge amount of possibilities. Let's say, for example, that in the future, there might be an intelligent assistant that is trained based on your own data. This assistant would know your preferences and personality very well and be available 24/7. The market potential for such a product would be huge. Of course, we are still in the early stages of AI development, but even now, we can see that AI has great commercial value. Why is it that technologies like the metaverse, AR, and VR have been talked about so much, but their development has not been as successful? One reason is that the commercial value is not as high as that of generative AI. Just look at how popular ChatGPT has become. OpenAI probably didn't even anticipate this level of success. There are huge commercial opportunities in AI now, with limitless potential for the future. It's possible that we won't see so many of these opportunities in our lifetimes. This is why Microsoft is pushing OpenAI so hard to release GPT-4, even before it's fully developed. Other companies are also rushing to release trial versions, and some are even announcing their plans without having a product yet. Baidu's Robin Li even said during a press conference that the reason for the timing of their product release is because there is market demand. All resources, talent, and computing power are now being devoted to AI, which means its development will only get faster. The biggest concern for many people is the risk of AGI, the emergence of general artificial intelligence. In simple terms, it means that AI can surpass humans comprehensively and have autonomous consciousness. As for whether AI could become hostile towards humans like in the movies, Elon Musk mentioned in 2020 that AI may surpass humans before 2025. On March 22, Microsoft even published a 155-page paper titled, ChatGPT-4 Emerges: Early Signs of General Artificial Intelligence, while on the same day, an open letter warning about unrestrained AI competition was published and signed by various experts including Musk, with over 26,000 signatures so far. This letter calls for companies to pause the training of AIs that are at least 6 months more advanced than GPT-4. Of course, it is clear that this open letter will not stop the AI competition, whether one accepts it or not. The wave of generative AI is irreversible, and our entire business environment may undergo drastic changes in a few years. Do you feel that this wave of AI is becoming scary? In fact, The examples I mentioned earlier are somewhat extreme, such as the Microsoft paper which basically says that GPT-4 is too powerful and can answer questions too well, almost to the point of AGI, artificial general intelligence. However, many experts have criticized this paper, saying that it is exaggerated to claim that it is AGI. As for the open letter, many people just signed it without paying much attention, as it is a bit alarmist. So, what is the actual risk of AI? We previously talked about the underlying logic of ChatGPT, which is basically a word association game that guesses the next word based on the context. AI doesn't actually know what it's saying, it's just a highly skilled parrot that can learn and mimic. Therefore, looking at technologies such as ChatGPT, they may not be that scary yet, but this "yet" may not last for long. What if this parrot can almost perfectly answer all questions? How do you know it won't gradually develop its own consciousness? Of course, I am not an expert in this field and I am also curious about how everyone views it. Do you think that technologies like ChatGPT can develop autonomous consciousness and even reach AGI? As for many people's concerns about whether this AI will replace their jobs, it's useless to think so much. The tide of history will not change, and the foreseeable future is that it's not AI that will replace your job, but people who can use AI.